Hey, podcast season 2,
episode 3.
I was waiting for you to say it.
I was like, don't say it this time. Don't say it this time. You.
Okay.
All right.
Season 2, episode 3. Here we are, back again with another podcast. And disclaimer, we are filming this podcast on the road. So we apologize for any road noise in the background. Hopefully we'll try to talk loud and talk over it.
We'll talk loud and it'll be like a zen. People will fall asleep thinking of swingers.
It'll be your ASMR podcast.
I like it.
Welcome to the Impulsive Duo podcast. Remember, our content is for 18 and over. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button.
But we are leaving the mountains, headed home from the 4th of July week in the mountains.
Yes.
So we are going, which kind of gave us the idea for this week's podcast, is being a swinger in a small town. I mean, we live in a, not a super small town. Boise, the Treasure Valley is growing, and it's large, and there's a large, lifestyle community. But, as far as, we live in a pretty semi-conservative town as well as a very conservative state.
And it's also, even though it's unique because it is the only city out there that is big as it is, people still know everybody. It's so
especially
weird.
Where we live, there's sections of our town. We live in the southeast section, and there's and we know a lot of people because a lot of people grew up there. And there's the north end, and there's different areas of our town, even though and so just right in our town, our little neighborhoods, we know a lot of people.
Right.
Or I especially know a lot of people.
Yeah.
I've lived there a lot longer than Eric has. So we're just going to kind of talk about that. And we get a lot of questions about people asking if being in the lifestyle has affected our, if we've gotten hate from friends and family or lost friends and family, or, do we receive hate on a daily, out in society, do the neighbors hate us? We get the weirdest questions.
Questions around hate. It's almost like people assume or are afraid. That's the thing. It's so fear driven almost, that, oh my God, if I'm a swinger, everybody's going to find out and they're all going to hate me and they're all going to point their finger at me and get their pitchforks out. It's this mad fear.
Remember, we moved last January just down the street to a bigger house, out of our condo and into a house.
Right.
And people were like, did you have to move because people found out what you did? We were like, what?
Yes.
No, no one knows what we do. What? We couldn't even wrap our brain around it. We're like, nope, just found a nicer house we wanted.
Found a nicer place to live, so we wanted to
lease was
there.
Up. Yeah, I was like, no, just decided to move to a nicer house down the same, literally a half a mile from where we were.
Yeah.
Nobody hates us. I don't think our neighbors know. But yeah, that's the thing. It's not like you're sharing this information with, yes, we are very vocal, which we are the 5%ers of the lifestyle. We're very vocal about what we do. We obviously, we're public about it.
Yeah.
But 95% of the swinger population is not public about it. So imagine, not telling anybody or not speaking out about it. It's a lot different. But even that, we know our neighbors don't know what we do. I'm very involved in my kids' schools as far as my daughter's activities, and even Eric is we travel with the marching band, and we do we're helping with every
event, we're at
every competition,
games,
everything, we're keeping score at my son's baseball games. We're very involved in my kids' school activities, extracurricular activities. We know all the parents, we go all things, and nobody knows what we do. The only, unless you're actively looking for it or you're in the lifestyle yourself and you're coming across that, then if you're not in that world, in the social media swinger, lifestyle world, you're not typically going to see this stuff. Now, the only way it would get out is if someone said something, or, someone did happen to see it. And if maybe somebody has. No one's ever said anything to us. Oh, dear.
Right.
We just saw deer. Deer.
Well, that's the thing too. Is it's just like with the small town, even with apps and stuff, people are so. It's almost like you're oblivious that there are swingers out there. It's something that doesn't even cross your mind.
No, it never crossed my mind a couple years ago before I went lifestyle. It wasn't even something I thought about. I never once on social media. Even let's go back to 2020 when I first started actually playing on TikTok and stuff. Never crossed my mind even back then. I wasn't seeing swinger stuff. I wasn't coming across swinger profiles on Instagram. None of that was you know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't even on my radar. it wasn't until I started kind of like exploring the like, you know, like the bisexual, and I almost got into like lesbian talk and all that first. And then it's like, I think, you know, you see one video, you hit like, and the next thing it's like a snowball effect. But if you're really not looking for that stuff or interested in it, it's very easy to like not see it and not like, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and it doesn't even, like, I remember even here in Boise, I remember people would be like, oh yeah, don't go to this one place or whatever with pineapples on, because, like, you know, it's a swingers thing or whatever. And
the place that we go?
Yeah, and it would like go in my ear and it'd go in one ear and out the other.
Why would I go there with a pineapple on?
Yeah,
what?
It wouldn't even register with me of like, oh, there's swingers. Like, it's really not anything you comprehend or think about.
Unless you're contemplating a lifestyle or you're thinking about,
right.
Or you're in the lifestyle. No, I mean, and I've had, and you know, that's the other thing too. People ask me, how do you gotten hate? Because obviously, yes, people have found out. I've posted on some old social media platforms, my public platforms, as far as like, you know, my public Instagram, the ones that like, you know, my family sees, friends. Those are just my kids and my daily, you know, like my life. I don't post anything like that. But occasionally I'll like, you know, I mean, I've posted some things and people always are like, oh my God, do you get hate? The only people we get hate from are unhappy trolls on the internet.
Right.
I have had actually the opposite. I have had people reach out to me and be like, oh my God, girl, I see what you're doing. Like, I was at a concert and I saw this girl came up to me and she was like, okay, oh, you know, Candice, I haven't seen you. And like, we had to see each other, you know, we're Facebook friends. We used to, you know, be friends years ago. Ran into each other at a concert. She's like, oh my God, I've been like seeing your social media stuff. She's like, I'm so proud of you. You seem so happy. Like, way to like, you know, like do what makes you happy. And like, she's like, it's so awesome. Like, so anything I've gotten like the opposite. Like, I've had people reach out to me and be like, you know, it's so cool to see you like embracing who you are and like not being afraid to like be public about it. And so yeah, I've actually like gotten the opposite effect.
No, and I think that the people that actually care about you or are close to you or you matter to them, all they want to do is see you happy. And so no matter what you're doing, if you're happy, it's like they don't hate on you for it.
Yeah, and I think, I mean, there does definitely come a lot of that, like, religious trauma, and I can understand if you grew up in a very, like, religious, strict household, and obviously you're afraid to tell your parents because all of a sudden if they find out you're doing this, and, oh, we're not going to watch your kids for you anymore, we're going to disown you. Like, I can see that side, too. I'm fortunate, Eric is fortunate that our parents, I grew up in a very conservative household, Eric as well. But my dad also, like, you know, I've been married, divorced, had a kid before I was married. You know, like, at this point in my life, my dad's just like, you happy? You paying your bills? The kid's well taken care of? That's all I care about. Like, you're not on, you know, I live in a nice home. I don't do drugs. I'm, like, very, you know, financially successful. To me, you know, and, like, so my dad, you know, that's the other thing, too. It's not like you're going away for the weekend, like when Eric and I go away and host an event, like if my dad happens to be in town or stays with my kids, or, you know, it's like, oh, we had an event in Portland this weekend, oh, cool. It's not like what you do at the event and like grilling me. It's just like in your monogamous relationship. Like if Eric and I went away, like we just spent 3 weeks in the mountains. It's like I'm gonna go home and be like, you want to know what kind of sex we had this weekend? You know, like you just don't talk about that stuff anyways. So like I've talked on a business level of like unicorn landing, you know, with like my dad and like very like business app development, you know, investors, things like that level, but never like, you know, you just don't go into detail.
Well, you don't go into detail,
and it's very easy to hide.
Yeah, and I don't understand. The thing that still confuses me is I don't understand why people feel it's almost like coming out as like gay or bi, because people are always like, you know, have you come out to your family, or have you come out with what?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, come out with what?
Why do I need to tell them? I don't owe anybody an explanation on my sexuality or how I'm living my life, who I choose to, you know, what kind of spicy stuff, what goes on in my bedroom is not anybody's business except for my own, you know, and my husband's.
Right.
It's not like you're not talking to your kids about this, like you're not talking, but yeah, people are like, we're just friends. Oh, we finally told our daughter, and I'm like, why?
Why?
Like, why do you felt like you owe, like?
Why do you feel you owe them an explanation for living your life? It's not.
Yeah, you don't, and even just like with kids, like my daughter's gay, and but it's not like she's. I mean, you know, she's got a girlfriend now, and most people know, but she's not like running around being like, I'm gay, look at me. Like, it was never, and I kind of knew. We had lots of conversations about you don't owe that to anybody, and like, you know, at this point in your life, like even as a teenager, like especially, it's like just live your life, do what makes you happy, and if you feel the need to tell someone or you feel comfortable, but you don't owe anybody that.
No, you don't. And it's not, I think the only reason you would even come out and have to like brag to everybody in your town or feel the need is it's almost like you're seeking validation.
Mm-hmm.
Like you.
Well,
you,
we
you,
could be accused of that, I guess.
Well,
we do it on more.
No,
I mean, we aren't doing it to seek validation.
Yeah.
It's more. I mean, obviously, we own. It's a business sense because we own a platform, and we do our podcast, and we have Unicorn Landing. So obviously, we like to talk about it and be advocates. So we've also enjoyed, since we are now open about it, we've also enjoyed educating people.
Right.
It's like the direction that we love. Like a lot of we focus on a lot of questions like newbies have and stuff like that.
Right.
So yeah. But I mean, like even like this weekend, so we were up in the mountains in this little tiny it's population 90 in the year round, but it's obviously a lot bigger population in the summer. This little mountain town, and a huge 4th of July festival and party and parade and Eric and I are just we're just laughing about how we're you were like, here we come, don't mind us, this little small redneck conservative town. Here comes these swinger advocates. We're like, hey. So I jumped on some apps. I couldn't really find anyone too close by. I think there was some people. I found some people in Unicorn Landing within 20 miles of where we were. and then but even further, I mean, if I extended the range Unicorn Landing out to 40 miles, and there was 8.
Are you a female 18 and over interested in the lifestyle? Come check out unicornlanding.com for more information.
Couples.
And we were out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah,
so
and we're out
cool.
in the mountains of and so it's you think there's not going to be people everywhere, but you would be surprised.
Yeah, and everyone thrives on just being discreet, and that's.
We could have put some upside down pineapples on and walked around the party a little more though. See if anybody.
Yeah, but it's even the thing too is people don't get is they always ask how do you approach swingers and stuff even in public and all this.
Oh no, we live a very normal. That's the other thing too is people oh, you're swingers out in public, or oh, what do people think? I'm I don't walk around with a sign that says I'm a swinger on me.
Yeah.
Eric and I are out just enjoying the music and the parade, looking very normal. Wearing a red, white, blue, just celebrating the 4th of July like everyone else. Not looking for, and that's the thing, we're not looking for anybody. Those are separate from our also very normal monogamous life, And even we didn't even have my kids this week, which, I didn't have my kids for the 4th this year. And so it's even that, it doesn't matter. We still date each other. We still go spend the time together.
Yeah, no, you spend time together, and it's not like you're looking to hook up 24/7.
Yeah, I didn't really see the pineapples. I love it.
And well, even then, if you did, it's okay, you see other people,
and
they're out with their kids or whatever. And
I would never approach somebody.
Yeah. And even if we were approached though too, it'd be oh, okay, cool, but we're doing other stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we're not out here just looking for that.
Yeah.
So I mean, obviously we get no hate being out there. I mean, no one recognized us or anything, so it's not a big deal. We look very normal when we're out and about.
Well, even when we have been recognized, we were recognized at Disney. We've been recognized
downtown. Yeah. Oh yeah. But the people that recognize us are also swingers. They are people who are also in the lifestyle and are on social media in that sort of way. You know what I mean? And so when they recognize us, it's more of hey, how are you guys? Very nice.
Love your live streams.
Love your lives. Love your
love
your content.
Yeah.
And then they leave us alone because because they're just not being pushy. And that, even at Disney, they're with their kids, but they just walk by our table. They're hey, we love your guys' content. We were oh, hey. But they were with their kids. So it's so people that recognize us, it's in a nice way.
Yeah.
Because people that hate us don't typically, they might see one video, make a comment, but they're not going to recognize us or,
they're
whatever.
not going to memorize
and
what
nobody
we look
has
like.
the balls. I mean, that's the other thing too. Let's just say somebody at my daughter's school, one of the parents did find out or someone said anything, and then all of a sudden it was a rumor amongst the parents or whatever. I don't think anyone would even have the balls or care to say anything. They might talk amongst themselves, but it's not we're still the same people when we're there helping. Actually, I take that back. One of the parents does know. My daughter's best friend's parents know. I mean, I don't know how much they know, but they definitely know some.
Yeah.
And they don't care. Their daughter's still allowed to come over. We still always say hi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If they don't they're just like, okay, people are living there. I mean, they're very open, you know, they've got like, you know, a child that's gay and like, you know, they're very open and like, you know, pretty liberal in that sense. But even that, they're just like, okay, like adults love doing it. And like, I wish it just, that people like the hate that like people think they're gonna get is not, it's not like the same hate that you get on social media. And the only hate I've ever gotten from, I mean, and I have cousins, I have family who all know I do. The only hate I've gotten is my one uncle, which he's like a total asshole redneck, so it's not even a matter, said like a couple rude things to us, but not even like, he was just like, oh, there's the impulsive duo. The family's so proud of you. I'm like, what family? You? Like, half the family doesn't even like you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, who are you talking about? Because I still talk to your daughter. I still talk to, like, some other cousins. I still see my grandma. I'm like, what? You? Like, okay, walk, bye. Like,
bye.
You mean, you're like, he's burned bridges with everybody in the family, you know? So it wasn't like, that's the only real, like, concern as far as hate.
Yeah.
What about your family?
None. None. I mean, nobody cares. That's the thing, is I think we build it up in our head.
I mean,
that
you were little nervous about your brother.
I was to a point. Like, but again, it comes down to, it's like, you're not sitting there describing everything that you're often doing, and you're not, you know, nobody cares about the details, and they care more like, hey, are you happy? Cool. Oh, you know, it's also different when you have a whole business around it where you are a little bit more vocal, but they don't care, and it's like, okay, how's your app doing? Or, you know, how
female empowerment.
Yeah, or hey, I got questions. You're marketing this. How do you you know? And then all of a sudden it turns into some business talk around, you know, his company and marketing his company or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it's like, people just have this overwhelming fear of being exposed, and I don't know where that fear comes from.
I mean, I can understand, like, you know, we've got some friends that like work for the city. They have, you know, and she's got careful about clients finding out because they're worried that, you know, it could cause some hate. I can see that. I can see certain professions it causing an issue. Don't get me wrong. We're not saying that everybody should just be public about it.
Yeah, no.
No, we're saying us and the hate, because people do ask us, because people are afraid. You can't, but we know so many people that we go to dinner with. We went on a dinner date we have two people. We hung out two couples this last weekend. Before we left. We went to dinner one night, and then we went to coffee the next morning with some friends to just discuss some business stuff. Oh, sorry, we're hitting bumps. It's gonna be loud. And nobody knows they don't go, I mean, they might have some friends that know and stuff, but they don't go around parading it. They're like active swingers. They go to events, they go to parties, go to clubs on the weekends sometimes, go out to dinner with friends, but none of their like immediate like family, you know, all of their friends know. Their business doesn't know, like they own their own businesses, there are ways around it. Like, you can be discreet, and even with your kids, like their kids don't know, like, so they're going out with a couple for the night,
right?
Hey, we're going out to dinner with some friends, cool, see you when you get back, like, here's your babysitter, like, mom and dad are gonna go out for the night, or mom and dad are going away for the weekend. Okay. You don't owe your kids an explanation either about what you did.
No, it's almost like you're treating your like 8-year-old or 10-year-old with more like you don't, like, they're your parents in a sense, almost like you have to explain to your 10-year-old what.
No, and people ask all the time, oh, do your kids know, or your kids think? I don't talk to my kids about that stuff. Do you? Like, no. Like, I don't, especially little ones. I mean, obviously if they get older, you know, like, obviously I own an app and my daughter kind of knows what it is, but again, we don't talk about it in detail as far as, like, you know, age appropriate conversations. Like, it's very okay to like talk about other things and leave that side of you. Adults are allowed to have you know, like their own personal life, like relationship and intimate life. So it's just not something we share with people, obviously. I mean, besides our podcast, but you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like, you don't have to share with people.
You don't, and that's where it comes down into that whole small town of, like, you don't broadcast it to everybody that, hey, we're swingers, or you're not trying to like convince other people to be swingers. Yeah,
my neighbors don't know what we do. We don't have like, my neighbor, and when my neighbors ask what we do, we own a social media marketing company. Like, Eric and I have it down. We just last night watching the fireworks, the couple that in the cabin next to us were like, hey, you know, blah blah blah, and we start talking to them for a little bit before the fireworks start. And they're like, oh, what do you guys do? Oh, we own a social media marketing company, and we're now entrepreneurs, and we left our careers. And they're always like, oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And that's all the detail. They don't care. No one wants, I mean, maybe someone's asking more detail,
And,
but like,
it's not like they're going to remember like 2 days later, even the conversation, you know?
Yeah, like we pick and choose who we tell, what we actually do, what we own. But we are creating a social media marketing company to help other people and other creators.
Yeah.
So that's legit.
Yeah.
But so we can tell people that. But yeah, and here's the other thing too. So I was with my ex-husband for 12 years in a small town, and he born and raised there, so he knows everybody. Went to high school, like in the same high school, same schools. Grew up with these people. So I was with him for 12 years. So a lot of these people, and I still live in the same community. My daughter now goes to that high school, and so it's like, and through our divorce, different things, like there was some hate and some ill words shed, and I'm sure some rumors spread and some great things about Eric said, to these people. But again, I live in that community, and I still have seen some out and about, and it's like a wave and a high, and like, I mean, I just think I got to the point where I was like, you just have fun with that. I'm fucking happy. Like,
right.
I love my life. I love the life I've created, that we've created, the business that I've created, the connections that I have made, the money that I'm making, like financially stability. As a single mom, I was able to like, come into my own and be who I want to be. Whatever these, like, some people that I know nothing about want to say behind my back is purely their problem, not mine.
Yeah, no, and that's the thing.
And that's the thing. Hate is sad because, like, I'm not sitting here talking shit about them. I don't care. I don't care what anyone's doing.
Right.
I don't care if you're a nun, and I don't care if you're a swinger. Like, as long as you're not hurting other people,
yeah.
Do you, boo?
Well, that's the thing too, is and people don't realize, like, even people that are swingers, it's not like they want to. You're not doing everybody, and you don't want to do not. And it's not
don't
that
look at my husband.
Yeah, and it's not like you're not. Your sex life at home is great, and it's not like you have to go out and seek this. And I think people kind of just assume if you're a swinger, you're doing this, nonstop, 24/7, and you're just constantly doing it. No, and a lot of people, even if they do play or hook up with other couples or whatever it might be, a lot of them don't even do it where they live.
Yeah,
and a lot of them travel.
We heard that when we first got into lifestyle. A lot of people like, don't play where you live. We don't play where we live. And we were kind of like, why wouldn't you want local friends? Well, obviously, now come to find out, because you don't want people to know. We have some friends that live in a semi-small town, and he's a police officer. They don't play where they live for obvious reasons. Very small town. That's fine. They do it when they travel. They've made connection. You know what I mean? Like, and that's, I mean, the drama that it can still.
Yeah.
When, if something happens, and like, so we have a club, near us, but we don't really play where we live. Is that snow?
It is.
That's crazy. It looks like a
bridge.
No, it looked like what's it called? An iceberg.
Oh. Yeah, no, but
or glacier. That's what
a glacier. But a lot of people, like, you don't play where you live almost because it can ruin the friendship side of it, and that's the part that's
what we really kind of focus on, more the friendship side of it locally. And there's not a ton of people, locally that we've done stuff with. But again, it's okay. You can still be a swinger and play twice a year, 3 times a year, once a year. You know what I mean?
Or take a break for 10 years and then go back and you're still
in the lifestyle. There's such a broad range. There is no official rule book. There is no official, this is what you have to do. So some people, only travel or only play the couple times a year when they go to, an event. They travel to an event and they nobody knows them. They let their freak flag fly.
Yeah.
And I'm more like that. When I'm out of town, I'm like, fuck yeah, I don't know, I don't have a good time this weekend. That's definitely more. And a lot of people in the lifestyle are like that, especially if they need to be discreet.
And it makes it easier and less stress, and you had your little bit of fun, and you kind of...
So it's like you got it out of your system. You got the attention you wanted, you got the fun, spicy time with your husband, reconnecting, you come back and be like, that was fucking hot, and you get to kind of talk about it. And it, and
then you go back to your normal life.
Yeah, and then you're just back at, like we all do after vacation, back at fucking work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think people are just very, very concerned about that. And you can be discreet on apps. You know, you can put emojis over your face, and that's okay. Like, that's the thing. There's people on all these sorts of apps. And if they live local and they look, you know, I can't see their faces, but, you know, I'm like, and they reach out to us or something, and we start chatting, like, it doesn't bother me to start chatting with people that have emojis over their faces, or, you know, and I'd be like,
right.
and then they'll privately send a photo. And if I'm not interested, I'm not interested. But I think it's like, you know, there are ways around being discreet. You know, all the Facebook groups are private. Like, I don't know. You could definitely, like...
Well, it's finding those private Facebook groups. And it's also, like, non-swingers don't get on swinger apps.
No, and...
You know, that's the thing. If you're
99% of swingers out there are very, very good, are very understanding of people needing to be discreet. Like, we are very public. We are very public. People don't know who we play with. People don't know who we spend time with. We don't make, you know, I mean, we've made some content with some friends that have, you know, are okay being open about it, or, you know, whatever. But we have also very normal swinger friends that you would never know are swingers, but we do not, you know, talk about that. We don't know name, no, you know, pictures, no, you know. So, and I mean, that part gets hard too, because sometimes we'll go out and, like, have a fun weekend and we're like, couldn't really post any photos or something.
Right.
So... You know, because we have a lot of discreet swingers where we live, because, again, it is a small town. But, yeah, it's just, we don't get the hate like you would think. I mean, sometimes I wonder, like, I still have my, you know, my vanilla friends from, you know, that I've had for years, and I'm still friends with them. Oh my God. That's a pop-up.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, there was a camper on the side of the road. We're seeing all sorts of cool things on our drive.
Yeah.
You know, and even that, like, they don't care being seen with me. Like, you know, I always joke, like, my friend Sam, you know, I shouldn't say her name, but, you know, like, are people going to, I'm like, you gonna be embarrassed to be seen with me? And she's like, I don't give a shit, you know, like, people know I'm not a swinger. Like, I don't care. Like, or she's like, and if someone asks if I am, I'll be like, no, but I'm not, like, embarrassed, you know. Like, and I have other friends that, like, people just don't.
I think just people, you almost make it weird when you first you first get in this lifestyle of this whole fear of judgment and all this, and it's really actually not there. It's more of just you're afraid of, like, stuff that really isn't realistic. Like, it really doesn't happen. Like, you know, people, even with the apps, like, a non-swinger isn't going to sign up for a swinger app because what happens? They're going to be afraid that people think they're actually swingers when they're not, so they won't. I mean, most people don't even swingers don't even necessarily know of swinger apps.
New swingers don't even know what apps to download.
Yeah, they don't even realize that there are apps.
Non-swinger, they'd have no idea. Like, I could ask any of my non-swinger friends, like, can you name a swing? The only app any of my friends could name was Unicorn Landing.
Yeah.
They'd be like, what?
Yeah.
Or they're all married. A lot of my friends have never even been on, like, Tinder or Bumble because they've been married for so long. They're like, what?
Huh? There's apps for this?
Yeah.
Yeah. But you think that because you're a swinger, everyone's going to be, like, into your business all of a sudden, trying to figure things out, and they really don't care.
Yeah. Nobody. Honestly, people are too. Like, if you think about how busy you are with your own life and your own kids and your own job, and you know what I mean, and your own relationship, how, like, I don't have fucking time for other people's lives.
No.
Like, in that sense. Like,
even with us, it's not like we try to figure out about our friends' lives of, like, hey, we really don't, because you have your own life going on.
And if I have a question about my friend's life, or I see something on social media, I just would be like, hey, did you do that? Did you travel there? What's going on in your life? Are you okay? Like, I'll ask questions if I have questions. And if more people just want to make things up and talk, that's fine too. Like, that's cool.
Yeah.
At least we give them something to talk about.
I doubt they even really do.
No, I don't really think people do. Like, I don't know. I think it's a lot less, the only thing I can see is, like, a business based. I mean, I was a real estate agent for a little bit, and my friend was like, you know, what if you ever met somebody who was, like, found out and was like, I don't want her to be my agent. I'm like, okay, then I won't be their agent. Next. Like, 99% of the people aren't going to know unless they're in the lifestyle.
And
maybe that, out of that 1%, maybe half of that 1% is going to be like, oh, I don't care, she can still be my agent. And maybe half the other, like, you know, 0.5 might be like, I don't want her to be my agent. Okay.
Well, you'd actually end up most likely gaining business, because any swingers, all of a sudden, if they know you're a swinger, want to support you, because everybody in this lifestyle is so open-minded, you'd actually get more business.
Well, and even like the LGBTQ community, I'm in some of those Facebook groups, and I see people all the time like looking for a, you know, real estate agent that supports that and is like comfortable,
Yep.
you know, like, you know, helping a couple look for a house or stuff like that. And so it's like, yeah, there's a place for everybody, and we just all need to stop judging people. I don't care if you are, you know, super religious and conservative, want to just leave other people alone and focus on your own life, what's in front of you, your own job, your own family. That's all you can do.
It is.
Thank you for checking out the Impulsive Duo podcast. For more resources, go to www.theimpulsiveduo.com.